night. This is Julie with J of Cree Freedom, and I would like to give the Lord credit and thank Him for blessing me with the words He put in my mouth and appointing them this day over the nations and the kingdoms of the earth, if they so choose to listen, to uproot and break down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant. Boom, shakalaka done. Yeah, so today it does have a little bit of, this is the Rhema from Monday. It does have a little bit of where the Lord turns to me and He's changed the pronouns and it's for me. So at first I thought it was a mistake, but silly me. The Lord doesn't make mistakes. If there are mistakes in the Rhema from the past, it was mostly, I would say 100% my fault. But I'm getting better, so at letting the Lord put the words in and try not to finish His sentences at all, because sometimes He throws me for a loop, and He's been testing me in that way. So it actually happened twice that He turns the Rhema from y'all to me. It's just I think a small snippet to show y'all what it's like for me to receive it and how kind He is, and then it goes back. But I think it's meant to be shared today, the part that He gives to me in the middle of it. So we'll be talking about riots, the riots coming up, and your role in that, or your non-role, and then also a little bit about the NFL or the soccer league if you're in Europe and you're a soccer fan. God basically has asked me to buy some DVDs, that way I can have them for later. And yeah, so real quick, I'll just share part of the dream. This was from a couple years ago. No, more than that, before Corona hit. But basically, I had a dream about a football player, and there was a machine that was coming. It was not, in the dream, it did not seem like a disease or anything, but there was a machine coming that was kind of like plundering and killing parts of Vienna. But for some reason, there was a football player there too. Maybe he was from the Vienna Vikings, I don't know. There is a German league, if y'all didn't know. And the guy's body got cut in half, and he was laying dead on the field. So that is a dream I had from the past. And then, of course, if y'all check out Hugo Talks, he did a lot of videos on some of the athletes who were affected by the Vaycay. We have a new word for it now. Yeah, I don't know if it's in reference to that or if it will have to do with war. But anyway, the Lord is pointing to a football season where there's no season. So I don't know if that's 2024 or 2025. I assume it'll be in the next couple years in general, because that is how usually the prophecies I receive work. It's usually 1 or 2 years. As far as things like that go, I'm sure some of it can obviously last longer. In general, the things that I have seen from the Lord or received have come to pass within 1 or 2 years. So there's always exceptions to the rule, of course. And it has to follow the timeline from Revelation that the Lord has in mind. So, all right. So he was talking about how, like, on the streets, like, sometimes people just seem very evil. So sometimes you see someone as, like, really looking really evil, but you are being called to get holier and holier. So he's kind of like taking the role of a person who maybe feels in between. So it's like evil B word over here, check. Righteous one over here, check. And what do I actually want to decide for on my own? A word for all of eternity, folks. Yeah, dude, so it's going to get a little scary out there on them streets, dear ones of, hide, babes, my babesters of the hour. He also said my babes of the hour. And no, I don't mean in the nuclear fallout cellar, you nitwits. Okay, you're not nitwits to me at all. And screw those mofos who think such silly shiza of you at times, dear ones. But yeah, babes, in general, if it's not all that important to make a point to you, and it won't be, trust me on this one, babes. For do they, Hans? No, not really, sweethearts. The governments in this hour are actually terribly loath to listen to the people on that one. For time, Hans. And I don't mean for no coup, babes. No, dear ones, think steamrolling of the masses for real, finally, and here you go, B-words. Another terrible as hell policy for you to deal with, you jokers. Ain't no joke about it. You dear ones listening to this channel are the reals, deals, and I am's view of hold it, dear ones. And yes, babes, I mean your tongues. in this hour of, for are we not? We are, dear ones, at the precipice of World War III. More signs rolling out in the skies, if only the verdammt cloud cover would reveal it. Yeah, dear ones, think Satan trying to block out my son's return to this earth in a massive, powerfully full of smoke and fluff, stuff and fluff, dear ones. The dragon is full of it. And her, dear ones, is this channel just giving you glib, go be happy today, folks, advice of, I love some of my brothers and sisters in Christ online who are that way, but it's sometimes just not where you are in life to be like, let's just be happy. We can try. All right, so I just remind y'all, Christians in America, it is allowed and acceptable in Europe to drink alcohol. And just a reminder, Jesus Christ did actually drink wine in the New Testament because he said, I will not drink this cup until I return. So he actually said that he actually drank some wine. Just so y'all know, it was real wine, not grape juice. So yeah, he does reference me having a beer on Sunday and watching a football game. Killing it, dude, with her beer, sipping, chilling on the couch as of a Sunday near you in the fall of, buy them, dear one. Yeah, hun. So I mean some NFL playoff DVDs. For will they, hun? They will, dear ones, help you relax in a future coming up near you of, what the actual F? There's no football season again? That's right, babes. Think those rock hard abs? Some not. Am I right, folks? But they still look so tough. They're not, dear ones, in that sense. Okay, he had 2 sentences. He said, think of those rock hard abs. He said they look so tough, but I also felt the Lord saying they're dropping left and right. And the Lord's timeline is infinite, so it's like present tense to him sometimes. He sees the event happening, and that's the way it says it. And then we go back to our present, and then we wait until it hits his present, and then it happens. So don't be thrown off by that. I'm not saying it's happening this second. They're not, dear ones, in that sense. When it comes to the VAX people, watch it, babe, calling it Vicky from now on. And how about Vaycay? Yeah, babe, think in the worstest way possible, dear one, down to, well, some of them are for sure going to hell now as we speak, folks, of, what are we talking of here, dear ones? Yeah, babes, think the fall season of soccer, not, dear ones, a huge deal for many of you but her, dear ones, she does, dear ones, for sure, need a little dose of non-reality at times of, and look at how those tough boys just crash the shiza out of each other. Yeah, dudes, so she longs to do it too. Wouldn't be no whiny, give us more money for our womanly, not so womanly are they, when they get out there on the pitch and pull hair, fight, bite, and scratch their way of. Longs to, dudes. It's how she wishes real womanhood would operate on her A-word of sleuth mode, dear ones. She's so over the sleuth mode. Let me stick this gossipy knife in your back, dear one. Killing her dudes in a bad way at times to know that, oh, and she hates me too? Great Lord. Thanks for the intel, dude. My big dude in the sky, and my big daddy in the sky. And are you, Lord? Well, I am for sure gonna do it, folks. Yeah, so I speak of taking care of the shiza in some of you's views. And yeah, Keith, be on the lookout for a quick message from this dear gal of, side note, I'll just send it to that. There's some kind of like form on your website, so I'll just send it to that. Burnin' son. And no, I don't mean in a good way, dude. How could these words be from me, you ask, dear son? Well, thanks for asking. Thanks for playing for real, dude, and not cutting her and her channel straight off into the dither other world of online crickety crackety scratchety voices from the maidels at times, dudes. And her voice. I like his alliteration. I could not do this. It's very clever. Has it not, dear ones? It has, dudes, remained rather sweet on my A-word despite a few, many setbacks in life as of late for our dear gal, not so frightened to listen to the sound of her own voice, as you were there in the beginning, am I right, hun? I am that I am is always right, dear ones. And her? Yeah, babes, let's just say I'm turning some of her more like fast, all dear ones, but I digress. Yeah, babes, dudes, so I speak of turning her wrongs into right. And you, dear ones, or could be anyway if you just chillax on our A-words of, really, sons? Is it so terrible to have your so-called satanic secrets exposed by her A-word? Side note, I did Google that thing about the satanic takeover of the Catholic Church, and I think it may be one of their secrets that's not supposed to be exposed, but anyway, it's out there now. So, back to the message. And your A-word, folks, is it in line with my spirit? My Holy Spirit in you has different instructions for you all, dear ones, when it comes to your holiness, dear ones. And unlike her, babes, in this matter, for a time anyway. Do not, people, and I am means it's a real knot, folks, of letting people twist you into knots because of what they think, and because they think you're not actually holy, and forget that dude over there acting all high and mighty. Ain't no high and mighty about it, folks. If a man chooses not to sin in a certain way, dear ones, that's it, babes. And the point, dear ones, the sinful choices you make in this life will point you a certain way. He also said, the choices you make in this life will point you, my babesters of the hour, a certain way, dear ones, down the road of eternity. Or down the roads of eternity. And you, sweethearts, sweetie beaties, all jealous, huh? Just because I called her my honey bunny? And you, dear ones, don't you think for 1 second I couldn't pour forth the same loving substances into your mouth, dear ones? And no, dudes, I ain't talking about no jizz. You see, dogs, you got sex too much on the brain for me to really work with you there at times of... Slow it down, dudes. Finally and for real. Or one day you'll try to pop on the computer screen and it'll just stay black like your heart. If I am that I am is honest with some of you. Finished, dear ones. With the basics of temptation, sons. If you want to be mine someday, turn the images off, dear ones, and go slow if you must. As she so wisely says, it ain't no tortoise versus the hare race of time, dear ones. Some of you for sure still have some time to get all your shized together of wasted, dear ones. And no, I don't mean with drink. Think, yeah, dudes, your reward's in heaven if you go the slow burnout route of, and I'm out of here, B-words. So now I'll get holy on your A-word, Lord. Yeah, dudes, not really how I am that I am likes to play with real life, dear one, or potential life, wifey status. In some of you, if you'll but just... Yeah, dear ones, some of you remember that butt dust word that just made you laugh so hard on her silly as hell A-word to think it of herself. Yeah, dogs, think you's being real A-word wipes for this to me, entering my kingdom by the skin of your teeth, and thinking you're a real bad A for it, eh? Not so much, dogs. Not so much. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because he could be like so mean right here, but he's being really nice. I hope y'all can see that. Back to the message. Anyways, dear ones, I think you get the relatively sweet points for today of, yeah, dear one, so her hand and tooth this time are killing her. For is it? It isn't, dear ones, healing up very nicely for her at this time of her life, dear ones. I am that I am is fixing her life finally, dear ones. Like I'll fix that condemned tooth. Love you all, babes. Honey bunnies. Here he winked. A big one. Ciao, ciao. Chowsters. And that's another reference to the Miranda show. As she leaves. She said, ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao. Okay, so I share with y'all the very end. They said something specific to me, and then he said, but we digress. In 3, 2, 1, blast off or send off. By the way, I have just been wanting to share this, so I guess I'll just go ahead and do it. When David became king, I'm going through 2 Samuel at the moment. When David became king, before that, when the people had asked for a king, Samuel was angry. The prophet Samuel, or the judge, he was still kind of like their king because he was the judge. And the Lord was angry that they asked. And the Lord sent a storm, and it was harvest time, so the storm destroyed part of the crops. So David actually saw the Lord operating through a storm. And then in Psalm 18, he wrote obviously that psalm, and he speaks of the Lord coming through the storm. And then he also makes the Lord almost sound like a dragon. So even though Satan is like the dragon, I feel like I don't think the Lord wants to be associated as a dragon, but I feel like if he wanted to, he could be like the cool, holy version of a dragon, in my view. So anyway, I want to share part of this psalm. It says, "Then the earth shook and quaked, the foundations of the mountains trembled. They were shaken because he was indignant and angry. Smoke went up from his nostrils, and fire from his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and thick darkness was under his feet. He rode upon a cherub or storm and flew, and he sped on the wings of the wind. He made darkness his hiding place, his pavilion around him. The darkness of the waters, the thick clouds of the skies. Out of the brightness before him passed his thick clouds, hailstones and coals of fire. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the Most High uttered his voice." God bless.